Hi, everyone. It's Amanda Rieger Green. Welcome to Soul Sessions. Today, we're going to dive into the numerology of 2026. I am here for it, and I hope you are too. We are entering a one universal year in numerology. The way that we calculate that is you add the entire calendar year, which is 2026, and you reduce it to a single digit. So 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6 equals 10. 1 plus 0, 10 reduces down to 1. And let me highlight a few important things first. We are not only entering a brand new year, we're entering a new 9-year cycle numerologically. So it's like a brand new decade. And the one is all about new beginnings. The other thing that I'm going to dive into today, besides the numerology of 2026, the one, how to work with it, the characteristics, frequencies, traits, blind spots, shadow frequencies, is also the higher vibration of next year. We're not just in a 1 year. When you add 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6, it equals 10. So we're actually in a 10 year. But in order to work with the energy of the 10, which is a higher octave than the 1, you want to understand the base frequency first, which is the 1. And that's really the heart of the energy field. So, as many of you know who are into numerology, and if you're brand new, it's important to recognize that we've just left a 9-year cycle. 2025 was a 9 universal year. The number 9 is about surrender, completion, letting go, shedding, detoxing, grieving. And 2025 felt heavy. It felt immense. There was a lot of culmination. And so much of the energy of the 9, it's sacred. It's internal. It's an internal growth spurt into higher maturity and wisdom. So when we step into the next chapter or epoch, like that's kind of what it feels like into this one. It's not solely about a new era, a new decade, a new beginning. It's really about a higher octave or version of yourself, your evolved self, because the one is about the mighty I am. At the core frequency, it's I am. And many of us know that's a sacred code. I am. In the beginning was the word, and the word was made flesh. I am, fill in the blank. That's what we use for intentions. It's a very high vibrational code. This year, 2026, has a high frequency, and it's asking us individually to really recognize who we are and to demonstrate that. Because one of the biggest properties or attributes of the frequency of the one is not only what am I, who am I, it's how do I take initiative or demonstrate that. The one is about action, not only who am I, what am I, how do I interpret that? How do I express that? Does my identity, the one is about identity, how does my identity demonstrate who I am? So it's as much about your inner life and your truth and your mighty I am as it is about your actions and the actions you take. And you know that adage when we say actions speak louder than words? That's a key phrase for 2026. Do your actions follow your inner truth? And how do your actions demonstrate who you innately are? This year, the one is also about selfhood. It's it's not just about your identity and your mighty I am. It's about really knowing yourself. To thine own self be true, to thine own self be honest. It's about being honest with who you are and who you aren't. Not just who you are, who you aren't. And for me, a lot of times, in order to figure out who I am or what I like, I need the polarity of what I don't like, what I'm not here for in order to clarify what I am. So, especially as we roll into the beginning of the year, and let me just say this too, with numerology and as we reset each year annually in the numerology, it's not like you wake up January 1st and you're like, "Oh, it's this is the vibe." It takes a hot minute to transition and settle in, and there's kind of an awkwardness in the beginning of the year. But as we shift into the first 2 or 3 months of the year, and especially paralleled with the astrology, which I will talk about in other podcasts, because together, the astro numero code, it's not only so parallel, it is magnificently, um, breakthrough, new paradigm kind of energy. But the one really wants you or is gonna pull you to understand yourself better. Yes, it is about new beginnings, fresh starts. The one also has a tremendous amount of direction often. Like it's instinctual. The one likes to shoot from the hip and apologize later sometimes, so it can overreact or it can be more reactive. And what this last year taught us was to slow down a bit and to come from a place of integrity. So you want to carry that forward into 2026. So your actions, your initiatives, the direction you take is not only true to yourself, but it has an integrity that also carries a patience with it, because the one can be very impatient, reactive. It can get bored when things are still, so it just wants to be busy for the sake of being busy. And those are old frequencies. That is carryover from an old paradigm that hopefully you recognized in 2025 that you are shedding. Busyness for the sake of busyness. And external things defining your internal worth. The one is also about leadership. It's about taking the lead and ultimately about being the leader of your own life. And that's another key phrase for 2026. I am the leader of my life. I am in charge. And this is not about not inviting your higher power in or giving it to God or surrendering it up, but knowing that you are seated from the divine and you are working in tandem with creator, source, the universe, God, and that you are innately capable of divine presence and leadership. The one also has a tremendous amount of determination and personal power, just a lot of oomph, fire, get up and go. And I also see in people who have a lot of ones in their numerology code or in their blueprint, they have a tremendous amount of ingenuity and resourcefulness, meaning they figure things out, they make things work. And probably one thing that a lot of people wouldn't necessarily tune into with the one, I think they're highly creative individuals. They're individually creative, meaning they have sparks of creativity, ideas that are industrious, resourceful. It's like they come out of nowhere and then boom, they're not afraid to take action. It's one of the things that I admire most and aspire to integrate in my own frequency field is that fearlessness, the boldness that comes with the one. And hopefully you can already hear in this year ahead that the one gives us a lot of strength, a lot of determination, a lot of courage and boldness. And I'm going to come back to the 10 in a minute and incorporate it because that, remember, like I said, I want to go over the base frequency of the one first, and then we'll jump into the higher octave. But with the one also will really encourage you to innovate new ways of bringing in happiness, joy, love, freedom, peace, ease, health, romance, well being into your life. Like If anybody's gonna do it, you have to initiate it. That's the thing about the one is the one will forget to ask for help, but everything you touch, you initiate is what has the power to succeed. Your hand has to be in it. You can't just step back and expect other people to get stuff done for you or to step in and take control. It is really about your authority, your self authority, and leading from integrity versus ego. The one has a lot of ego, and it's one of the things we love about the one because there's a healthy use of ego and will. But the one can be all about itself, very selfish and self centered. Me. And that is ultimately not the higher aspect of the one. The higher aspect of the one is really being true to yourself, communicating your truth, and then including others, asking for insight and advice so you don't feel so isolated and alone. Also, with the one and the determination and the drive, you will find yourself being interested in new things. Like, you will find things in your like, things will start shifting in your life, things that you're interested in, that you're curious about, skills that maybe you didn't know you had start rising to the surface. So you will see change within yourself, especially as we shift probably into the second half of the year, at least through the first quarter. You're gonna see like your taste buds will have evolved essentially. What you're interested in, what gets you going, what lights your fire. And guess what that means? You got to pull from the nine of recognizing where you've changed and where you're wanting to give your time and energy, and also what may need to be detoxed. So that may mean communication, honest communication, and setting boundaries, or taking initiative around change in your life. And that's going to come up, and it will come up with some discomfort. Let me highlight some of the blind spots with the one because they're important and how to counterbalance those blind spots. One of the things is impatience, rushing, shooting from the hip. And like I said, the one can be impulsive because it's kind of fearless. It's what we love, but it can create tremendous impatience and overreacting. So remembering to slow down a bit. But also, if you're making a big decision, like if it's a life decision, I want to leave this job. Wow, I think I might want to separate from my spouse. Or, oh my gosh, I want to move to another country. Like, whatever the decision may be, instead of just executing it, because that's the one. And that's one of the things, again, I love about the one, but it can create a tremendous amount of regret and remorse, and you may not do it in the most well resourced way, or it might not even be right for you. So it's when you slow down before bigger decisions and you ask for input, you ask for advice from your trusted confidants, advisors, and people who can hold the same frequency and space to reflect back what you need to hear, whether you want to hear it or not. We have those people in our life. So one of the most important things I would do, especially as we shift into 2026, write a list down of the top 2 to 5 people in your life that you go to for wise counsel and insight and feedback, that you trust to tell you exactly what you need to hear. And I will tell you, let's say you write down 5 people, because I can think if I were to write down 5 people right now, like, I might go to one of those people as it relates to romance, relationships, love, and there might be another one of those 5 people that I would go to for business, but I wouldn't go to the business person for love or the romance person for business, And so what I'm saying is be recognize in your 5 people, and it can be more than that or less than that, but write those down at the beginning of the year so you actually engage people and their confidence to give you the feedback you need. That is imperative for one of the biggest blind spots of the impatience and the impulsiveness of the nine. And also, it safeguards from a lot of exacerbated ego and isolation or loneliness because the one can be so self determined and independent that it really can block itself off from its connection, its community. the element of teamwork. And as humans, we're hardwired for connection. So be mindful of that. Another blind spot is extreme self-focus and selfishness, which I've already alluded to that. And a way to counterbalance that is generosity, being of service, getting out of yourself and into service of someone else. And when you recognize that you are, and you will recognize this, and I want you to laugh your ass off when you do, because I'm smiling about it. When you're in your own little world, masterminding everything and running the universe, notice that you're actually getting smaller versus expanding. And to put down the dialogue in your own mind and reach out to somebody, connect, be of service, remembering to demonstrate your leadership by uplifting others, including others, checking in on other people. So getting out of self and into your heart space, because the frequency of the heart is a non-negotiable going forward in this next epoch, this next era forward, and in the higher frequency that many of us have already really stepped into and shifted into. So that heart-centered service will actually come naturally for many of you. But I'm reminding you that that service, and not the service where you're neglecting self, more of adding value by being of benefit and value to other people. Because when you do that, boom, eureka, the clarity will come, the answer will come, the initiative, a door will open that was not available before. Arrogance and domineering energy is another blind spot because the one and people with heavy ones in their energy field, and I have felt this within myself when I'm in a one cycle in a personal year, and I will talk a little bit more about personal years and how this goes. But one of the things about the one is it can really dominate and kind of take up way too much space. And listen, I'm all about people taking up space, but with the one, it can be overbearing, domineering. It can also be self righteous and arrogant, like just kind of have a magnetic air about it that isn't so magnetic, that is more off putting. So, a lot of just even the way you hold yourself, if it's internally, there's an air of arrogance, ego, um, self-righteousness. It will come off energetically, and it will actually shut you off from opportunities, wholeness, and, that creative juice that needs to flow within the one. So really listening, like pausing, relaxing, listening, and also checking in with your emotions. The one is so fiery and action oriented that sometimes it will bypass the emotional body. So, really saying, how do I feel about that? And am I like, how am I healthfully processing my emotions? Another thing, too, that I think helps with this kind of arrogant energy that can come with a one is owning your mistakes quickly. Like saying, shoot, you know what? I was really curt. I was really impatient with you, or I just totally interrupted you. I apologize for that. Hold on. What were you saying? Anything you do where you overstep, because the one oversteps a lot and it will bulldoze. Making sure that you just freaking own that. Say, "Oh my gosh, I was totally just going on and on and on about me and my stuff, and I didn't even ask how you are. Wow, I'm being super selfish. Let me pause. How are you truly?" You know, just own your stuff quickly. And that's also human and normal, because the one of the biggest keys I've already highlighted is self-awareness. One of the biggest gifts of 2026 is honest self-awareness, and that can be magnetic because it's true. It's true, and that is really what is evolving in 2026. One thing that I already alluded to, another blind spot, is isolation or forgetting to ask for support. And I'm going to highlight this again because it really is probably the biggest shadow of the one is forgetting to ask for help, forgetting to ask for support. And so learning how to lean into your friendships, community, collaboration, and also to tell on yourself. When you're struck or you're trying to figure something out and you're frustrated, the tendency of the one is to not communicate that, to act like everything's good. I'm good. I got it. I'm strong. I'm capable. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Number one. Like that's when you say, oh my gosh, I'm having a moment. I'm having a day. Tell on yourself. Be honest. Say you're struggling. Say you need some insider help. And maybe you don't need insider help, but maybe you just need someone to hold space so you can vent for a hot minute or be the person for someone else to vent to. Think about it that way. Last but not least, and this is an important shadow aspect of the one, is forcing outcomes and a little bit of control freak tendency, but forcing outcomes is the main one. Like the one needs to be in control of everything because it likes to do everything. It's the number one. I got this. I'm going to do it. I got it on my own. I don't need any help. Like, so it, of course, it's going to be a bit controlling because it's particular. It knows what it wants and it wants to execute it. That's where the control comes from with the one. But the forcing outcomes, this is a massive shadow of the energy of the one. The ones want what they want and they want it now and they want to figure it out immediately while they're thinking about it. So they just want to get it done versus sitting back and like doing their part, taking initiative, putting it out there, collaborating, and then allowing it to fall into place. That is probably something that many of us will experience. I want what I want and I want it now. I can see the end game needs to happen. So patience and not overpowering the actual divine orchestration of the universe. Don't forget that the universe is working in tandem with you. And that is the perfect lead in to talking about the energy of the 10. As I mentioned, 2026 is not only a 1 year in numerology, it is a 10 year. And the 10, you've got the one, and then you've got the magic of the zero. And the zero is magic because it's the great magnifier, it's the great equalizer. It never begins or ends. It's this constant circle and loop. So it illuminates, it it not magnifies isn't the right word. It's like it enunciates. It makes something etheric almost. The one has magically etheric qualities and the zero does, excuse me. The zero has magic and etheric qualities, and mixed with the one, there's like unlimited opportunity. But the one has old soul energy attached to it. So think of this year as a return to your soul's sovereignty, your soul's leadership, your innate your innate and highest and best self and highest timeline coming through. It's about like kind of this reclamation of the wisdom within your cells and DNA and beginning to live that, to see it, to believe it, to know it. There's like a quiet confidence in the 10 that doesn't need to be loud or overpowering. It just is present. And I've spoken a lot in the last year about presence because it's been cultivating and prepping the stage for this year ahead. Another aspect of the 10 is oneness. Like not just me, one. The bigger meaning of one is oneness, unity, inclusivity, fellowship, divine oneness. We are all interconnected. The one, the 10, excuse me, the 10 naturally creates community. It's like it creates synergy, is what it does. And it comes from a place of healthy influence and leadership, not from ego, just from pure presence. The 10 also is empathic and recognizing the feelings, needs, experiences of others. Whereas the one usually is very self focused. And we love that about the one because it is so determined. The 10 says, I am determined, but we're determined together. What does this group look like? I need other people. I need other people's talents, wisdom, information. I don't have to do this alone. We get to do it together. There's also something really cool that happens with the 10, and it's like an acceleration of destiny because the one has an acceleration quality to it, and the 10 is a destiny number. So it's almost like that future version of you that your soul has been kind of pulling that human version of you the ladder and upward and onward to through a lot of pain and kicking and screaming and sadness and grief and all the things that we've been walking through. The 10, the 2026 energy activates destiny and starts conspiring quickly in your favor, especially when your motives and your meaning come from love, from pure positive potential and truth, integrity. Um, the other thing, lastly, I would say about the 10 is the 10 also creates a steadiness. And I would not say that about the one. The one is not steady. The one is hyper and it goes and it gets done and it initiates and it takes charge. The zero creates a steadiness, a rhythm, like a solidarity almost. So I want you to notice both the energy of the one and the combination of working with the 10. And this is nothing to be overwhelmed about. And in fact, and I'm going to explain a few other things with the energy of 2026, but I wrote a whole blog to go along with this. And it's the working with both the 1 and the 10 energy of 2026, the numerology of 2026. And in that blog, it talks about whatever personal year cycle you're in your numerology and how that resonates with the one. And it gives a detailed outline of whatever personal you're in. So if you're in a 3 personal year under the blanket of the one, it'll give a little snippet of what that energy looks like. And then you can dive into your 3 personal year. So that blog is intended to accompany this and give you more detail. I encourage you to check it out because it's really helpful and it has other things that I haven't mentioned today in this video. But last but not least, a few things that will be helpful for you in working with the 2026 frequency, the frequency of the one and the higher octave of the 10. Set intentions daily. Does that sound like a lot? Sure. But most of us and most of you who are listening, like intentions are part of your lifestyle now, meaning prayer, communicating with the divine. This is not a difficult thing, but using your I am statement. I am love. I am kindness. I am worthy. I am whole. I am an infinite potential. I am joy. I am service. I am sober. Use your I am and know that it comes with gravitas. Because the one is so goal oriented, like whatever the task is at hand, it wants to go for it and take action. I would keep a little journal of ideas, insights that you have around goals and desires, even. Oh gosh, I really want this. Or man, I'd love to be involved in this. Or I need to reach out to so and so. Because a lot can be firing and wiring with the one, but write it down and revisit it to see what really rings true and what the motives behind that are. One thing with the one that might kind of fall into the blind spot area, but I think we could all use this piece of wisdom and this frequency that is such a cornerstone of the one is start before you're ready. Start before you're ready. And I'll give you a really simple example of this. When I talk to people, and this has also been true for me, that are stepping out into a new business, it's like, okay, your website doesn't have to be perfect, or you don't have to have this big social media following, or You just tell people who you are and what you do and offer your services. You already speak into existence who you are, what you do, like you've been doing it for decades. That's what the one gives us, starting before we're ready, dropping the overanalyzation and really stepping into the presence of our gifts, talents, and our heart's desires. And I can't wait to follow this up with the astrology, the main overarching astrology of 2026, because as I'm speaking this to you, I keep wanting to say, "My gosh, and this is gonna be happening in astrology, and this is gonna be happening, and it's gonna be so great because not only do we have the one, we have the North Node doing this and Jupiter doing this." So please stick with me, and if you're new, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you, but there's so much that is complementary and uplifting and compounding in this energy. So start before you're ready. And it's not about shooting from the hip. It's when you know something to have the courage to put yourself out there and also to flip and mess up, to flip and fail. It's not about failure. It's about action and traction and really building a resiliency and a strength within yourself. Also, a big way to integrate this energy is embodiment practices. It is imperative, and I'm not saying that lightly, I'm saying it really emphatically. It's imperative you move your body with the energy of the one. There's a lot of mojo, prana, fire that happens with the one, and so to avoid it coming out sideways, it's imperative to physically move the body. And whatever kind of physical exercise and movement feels good to you, whether you like to swim and that's good for your joints and your breath, or you're a long distance runner, or you're Pilates, or yoga, you just like to take your dog on a walk in the evenings, whatever works for you, daily movement of the body is pretty important here because it will help on a mental, emotional, and energetic level from an alignment perspective, but also your breath, you stopping and inhaling and exhaling fully. I have given lots of different breath exercises, and I will dive into some of those in the weeks ahead to give you great practices, somatic practices so to support the astrology and numerology and the frequencies of 2026. But just breathe, ground yourself and breathe and hydrate. Hydration. And I don't mean gallons and gallons of water. I mean a glass of mineral water with a little bit of salt in it so your body actually, your cells absorb the minerals. I've gotten to where I drink mineral water and I drink less of it, and I put salt in it just to ensure that my body is hydrated appropriately. Our bodies are physiologically changing, and what they actually need is is becoming different and will become more will change over the course of the next 2 or 3 years. And some of the things will surprise you, especially around hydration, but make sure that you're hydrating, but not just gulping water, drinking water intentionally, and really asking your cells to absorb the minerals in the water or in the fruits and vegetables that you're eating, however you are getting your hydration. Also, lead by example. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Lead by example and think about that, that there is a hermetic law in the universe. Every action has a reaction. And that is a huge cornerstone. That hermetic principle is that if we lead by example, if we treat others and show up for others and with others and in life in the way that we would want others to show up for us, there'll be a synergy. And last but not least, collaborate. Yes, there's that. Okay, so that's not my last but not least. Collaborate, that's important. Ask for help, collaborate. I can't hammer that one in enough because that really is a shadow of the one, but also choosing integrity and your wisdom over speed, immediate gratification. If something feels off and that you are doing it for money, attention, validation, immediate gratification, to fix or change how you feel in the moment, then it is probably not in wisdom or integrity. And I don't, maybe not always, but really saying, is this wise? What's the deeper meaning? Okay, yeah, I'm going to take action. Yes, this is true in my bones. Yes, I'm doing this because I'm excited about it. I'm passionate about it. So, in summary, 2026 is a year that you step into a higher identity, a higher path. It's a year of courage. It's a year of individuation, clarity, newfound truth, newfound clarity. And it's a year of your becoming that feels provocative, exciting, unique, and ultimately expansive. It's an activation of genius. And we get to do this together. If I like, in last but not least, in closing, 2025 felt like I was writing with a pencil. Like I would write things and scratch them out or erase them. 2026 feels like I'm writing in pen. Like I am writing in real time. I'm not erasing, I'm not smudging. I'm not afraid that what I write needs to be rewritten. 2026 feels like I am writing in my life in real time. We are writing our lives in real time and consciously co creating, not only with our oversouls and higher self, but with the divine and with this new epoch of humanity. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited for us to step into and embrace these energies of 2026. I think they're exciting. Definitely check out the blog. And like I said, the blog not only extrapolates a lot of what I've covered today in a very clear format, it also will help you calculate your personal year in numerology and dive a little bit deeper into the energies and frequencies of that and how it collaborates with the one. Thank you for joining me. Be courageous, be bold, and be well. Take care, everyone.